Three friends spend a night in an abandoned asylum to test a local legend. They split to different floors, one in the basement, one on the first floor, one on the second. The building answers and the night grows hungrier. It is late when we stand at the iron gates. The asylum looms above us, windows like dead eyes. I feel the cold settle before we push the front door. John cracks a joke that lands thin and brittle. "You sure about this?" he asks. I pretend I am. I open the door. The hinges scream longer than they should, a sound that hangs in the courtyard like a held breath released. We freeze. The foyer smells of dust and something older, disinfectant gone stale. My flashlight cuts a narrow cone through the dark, paint peels in long curls, and a faded reception desk leans crooked, ledger pages curled on the floor. We talk fast, voices small. "We split, remember," Mara says. We mark floors with a cigarette lighter. John takes the basement, Mara the first, I take the second. We leave packs by the stairs, trade quick promises and a few keys. The stairwell is a throat of shadow as I climb. Halfway up I feel movement at the edge of my sight, a directionless shift between the stair treads. I turn, nothing is there. My light falls on a wall of scratched names and dates, some deep and old, others fresher, faint as if scraped yesterday. I swallow. "Keep your phones on," I say. We nod, the rules feel brittle. When I step onto the second-floor landing, something slides across the banister and vanishes into the hallway. I can't tell if it's a trick of light or the house answering us. I think, "Don't be alone up here." The building seems to listen. A shadow slides across the banister and disappears into the corridor. We split and settle like we planned. I set up on the second floor in a long ward of rooms. The windows are nailed shut, but a chill pushes along the glass as if something wants through. I lay my sleeping bag under a cracked skylight and listen. My radio is dead. Birds are gone. Somewhere below the building breathes a soft, hollow exhale. John calls from the basement at first light. "You up there?" His voice echoes thin. "Yeah, you," I answer. We trade small talk, his tone is too light. Mara texts a selfie from the first-floor corridor, her flash catching an old wheelchair. She says nothing else. A breeze slides along the panes despite the nails, a sound like a hand along a coffin. I stand and trace the sill with my fingers. Dust flakes fall like tiny gray snow. For a moment something stands at the edge of my vision near the end of the hall. I turn quick. The hallway is empty, but the air tastes heavier, metallic. I tell myself it's fatigue. Still, hairs rise along my arms. I walk the corridor with my light. Doors gape open to rooms of bed frames and rusted restraints. One bed has a pattern of old straps and a recent crease where something sat. A distant sound rises from below, thin and steady like nails on stone. It becomes a metallic drag that makes the plaster whisper. I press my back to the wall. The building answers with a noise that crawls up through the floorboards. I think, stay with the light. The ward feels like a held breath waiting to break. John's voice is thinner when he calls again. "Light just came on down here," he says. "He is in the basement. There should be no power in the building." I tell Mara and try to keep my voice steady. She swears she hears nothing where she is. I creep down the narrow service stairs to the landing between floors, listening. The light under the basement door pulses, it flares once and dies. Ozone rides the stairwell air. I call his name, the echo folds back on itself. No answer. My hand slows on the banister where varnish is slick with damp. When I push the basement door, it moves with a dry, thin creak, not like the front door, higher and keener. The room inside is a bowl of shadow. For a heartbeat, a single bare bulb snaps on over an old examination table. It throws the table in harsh white. For a second I see tools laid out like instruments, clamps, saws, jars stained dark. The light dies, leaving teeth of shadow. The table looks used, the floor has tracks of something dragged across concrete. Then I hear sobbing, soft, close, childish at once. The air in the basement is warm and wrong compared with the cold upstairs. A low grind of metal on concrete begins, like chains being pulled. I think don't go alone, but my boots are already on the stairs. Mara's laugh should be easy to remember. I get a text, "You hear that?" and then a voice message, a whisper and a laugh that curdles at the edge. I race down to the first-floor landing and find her with her back to the ward doors. The corridor behind her looks sun-faded. Beds and sheets hang like dried skin. A child's laugh rings down the hallway, bright and wrong. She points to a bed near the window. The restraints are buckled and creased as if someone recently moved. Her hand trembles. "It put its hands on me," she says. I felt cold fingers on my shoulder. I touch my own arm and feel the chill sting. We move together slowly, flashlights carving small discs. The laughter ricochets and then stops, leaving pressure in our ears. We find a small toy on the floor between beds, a cracked music box with a painted ballerina. It opens when I touch it, though I hadn't turned the key. Inside, the ballerina spins and a squeaking lullaby plays. Mara's face is tight. "Don't," she whispers and pulls at the band around her wrist. A faint mark blooms like a thumbprint. Behind us, a shuffling noise, slow and deliberate. I feel a breath on my ear, not warm, the feeling of breath without temperature. "Who's there?" I call. No answer. The sound behind us halts. We both look back at a dark hallway, swallowing the beds. I think, keep the light steady. The corridor seems to be listening. The ward presses close. We feel watched. I climb back to the second floor because it feels safer to be higher, as if height keeps the building's weight away. The mirror on the landing catches me. It is old with silvered spots. For a second I see myself and a shadowed figure at my shoulder that shouldn't be there. My reflection moves a half-beat late and the glass cracks, a thin web running from one corner. I step closer and the crack widens without my touching it. In the broken surface, the other figure is clearer, hunched and not quite human, like a memory without a face. Scratches on the wall beside the mirror spell something in a child's scrawl: "Leave." The handwriting is mine. I don't remember writing it. A door slams somewhere down the stairwell, a knife through the quiet. My heart thumps. I walk the corridor, flashlight scanning. Papers on the floor shift as if pulled by breath. My watch slips like ice under my fingers. The silence presses. I hear light, quick footsteps running away. I call, "Hello," no answer. My voice sounds thin. I pick up a fallen sheet and the air on my neck feels colder. I can't tell if I've been here an hour or a day. The sense of being chased without seeing a pursuer tightens. I think, don't let it get behind you. I move on, each door a black mouth. Footsteps run behind me, but no one appears. Mara stands close with an old radio on a trolley. The dial spins on its own. Static fills the room, not steady, but voices buried under noise. The radio cracks and the voices assert themselves into syllables, whispering her name like fingers on glass. She backs away, dropping a file folder that spills yellowed pages and photographs. One photo falls face up. It is her, younger, with a hospital ID printed on the corner and a ward number she doesn't remember. "This isn't funny," she says, voice fraying. The radio keeps whispering and rushes. I lean in and hear my own name threaded through the noise. Drawers of a nearby cabinet open before our hands reach them. Files slide out and then are empty when we touch them. A folder that held her photo is gone as if it never existed. The radio keens and then dies as if a hand clapped over its mouth. We exchange a look. Mara pushes the trolley away, trying to put distance between the sound and us. Her breath is shallow. I want to tell her to leave, to run, but our pact holds like a thin wire. I touch the bruise on her wrist. A thumb-shaped purple starts to bloom, and it throbs like a new memory. The room goes still. Proof turns to absence. I think we should all go now. The silence feels heavier than the whispers had been. The radio dies, leaving dead quiet. John calls, voice ragged. The water's black. It's the sink turned on by itself. I can't step in it. I drop everything and head down. The stairs smell of wet iron. When I reach the basement landing, the faucet above a stone trough is spitting black liquid in a thin, steady stream. The puddles spread but stop short of John's feet, as if something traces a boundary around him. He stands by the old boiler, jacket soaked to his knees. He looks pale but not cold. His skin has a strange shine. "I can't feel the floor right," he says. Like it's not holding me, there's someone out there. A shadow moves across the doorway. When I swing my light, I catch only a shifting corner of darkness. The chains sound again, closer, scraping the ceiling. A lullaby hums in the dark just outside my beam, the same melody from the music box, slower and warped. The puddles pull tight around my boots, refusing to wet me. The light catches a small handprint in the black water, a child's, pressed in deep. The humming stops when I reach the locked metal door at the far end. There's no keyhole where a key should be. A name is stamped into the metal plate, letters faded but legible. Overhead the chains begin to drag with purpose. The basement becomes a throat closing. I think hold steady. My jaw sets, I don't know what to do next. Someone hums that lullaby just outside our view. I pull up the old grandfather clock on the second floor because I want time to keep doing what it always has. The wood is dull, the pendulum stubborn. Then it begins to tick backward. Each swing is slow and wrong. Papers on a small table lift and whirl into a small whirlwind that roars like old static. Letters peel from envelopes and slice at my skin as they spin. The chime sounds and my ears fill with a warped noise that distorts into a scream. I stagger back and hit a dark bench nailed to the floor. The world tilts. The floor vibrates not like settling but like a heart beating, slow and insistent, through my shoes. The air tastes metallic and mildew sharpens to copper. A hand, not mine, brushes my shoulder. The corridor stretches longer. Doors open along it in series like mouths. The papers gather into a vortex and lash at my face, carrying headlines from decades ago that read like accusations. My breath comes quick. I call for Mara and John. Their names return thinly, swallowed by ductwork. I think this place remembers. The second floor refuses to be a refuge. Time here is a thing that pulls and pushes at us, not neutral. The grandfather clock keeps ticking backward, and the corridor lengthens as if the building is rearranging itself. Phones die one by one, static steals signal. We converge in the basement because the sound there is the only thing none of us can ignore, a call that drags. We meet by the examination table in a circle of shaky light. John's jacket is darker now, black water stains climb his knees. Mara's eyes are raw and half-closed from lack of sleep. The basement door slams hard behind us. We all jump. The sound is a clean, final clap. The air closes in, thick with whispers. We move in a tight cluster, flashlights overlapping. The walls are marked in a child's frenetic scrawl with older handwriting beneath. Symbols ring the plaster like bruises. A wind wraps around us, ripping fabric and pulling at skin. It smells of damp straw and old iron. Our lights stretch into long fingers that the darkness eats. From the far corner, shadows gather and ripple like a school of fish. The murmur rises into a chorus of cries, not all human. We see names and dates scrawled on the walls, pleas, lists, accusations. We step back and the floor tilts as if the room has decided to slant. From above, shadow edges spill toward us, not yet bodies but suggestions of movement and hunger. I think we stick together. The joke is gone, the air grows stifling. We look at each other and know we are no longer trespassers, but something the building is hunting. Shadows swarm and the basement pressure closes in. For a breath, the kerosene lamp in a corner flares to life on its own and the room softens. We move toward it like survivors toward a match. Faces show for a moment in the glow, flesh, fear, names. Relief is hot and stupid. Then a gust strips the flame and the lamp dies. The dark swallows the room. Chains descend from the ceiling and begin to swing in wide arcs. They slap the concrete with loud, dry sounds that set my teeth on edge. The chains don't hang limp, they move with will. Something unseen claws at the iron. We duck as one. Figures coalesce at the edge of our beams, layered images overlaying one another like faces seen through wet glass. They reach but don't complete a touch. My fingers go numb. Time stretches, minutes feel like hours. I try to stand, but the floor under my boots seems to thin and dissolve. The edges of concrete crumble not into dust, but into a blackness that isn't emptiness so much as a mouth. Panic claws at us. John grabs Mara's arm and I reach for both of them, but the chains swing closer and knock our shoulders. The ground near the south wall slews away like skin, sinking. I think don't let go. The air tastes of iron and the room feels ready to swallow us. The basement seems to be changing shape with every breath. The floor begins to dissolve under us, and darkness moves like smoke beneath our feet. The walls begin to weep, first a slow sheen, then a dark wetness that trails down plaster like old blood. The smell of iron sharpens until it cuts. We back toward the stairs, but the wooden steps shrink under our hands. The staircase is not the same thing it was before. It retracts with a sound like splintering vows and a metallic click. Laughter wraps the room, high, frantic, layered into something like applause. We press ourselves to the farthest corner where the floor still feels solid. Dark ribbons of wet pool at the lip of a newly opened chasm. The figures close in, impressions of hands, faces, mouths. Someone screams and the sound is eaten and spat back as a slower, distorted scream belonging to the building. We try to climb, but the staircase curls away like a living thing and then slaps flat against the opposite wall. Our fingers find no purchase where the banister used to be. John claws at plaster and comes away with black-caked dust under his nails. The laughter turns into a chorus of names sung like a list. The ground rips open in the middle of the room and a chasm yawns, rimmed with symbols that glow faintly. The lights we hold flare and dip as if reacting to some unseen heart. Our voices are small against the sucking noise. I think hold the light steady. The basement has turned into a maw and everything is moving toward it. The chasm opens beneath our feet and the room pulls its breath in. The ground trembles and the room tilts like a ship listing. Plaster dust flakes into our mouths. The chasm breathes and draws us like tide. We grip each other and slip. Below the glowing symbols, the blackness takes light as if a hand snuffs a candle. The circles on the floor pulse faster, and with each pulse my limbs feel heavier, slower. Strength sags from my shoulders like water. A shadow wraps around John's ankle and pulls. He yells and reaches for Mara. She tries to lift him, but her forearms are laid. The circle under my feet burns warm, not pain, but a weight that pulls inward. My flashlight gutters and shows faces at the edge of the pit, lined up like jurors. They mouth names and show teeth. Our fingers slide off rubble, hands find only plaster that flakes away. The room wants us in the black. The symbols glow brighter and a low hum fills the air that sets my teeth on edge. Each pulse takes a piece of something, a thought, a memory, an easy joke. I feel Mara's laugh from a summer bonfire peel away. It is gone. Panic drives me toward the edge and the pull increases. We are inches from falling, but the room keeps us suspended, not rescue but a slow submission. I think don't let go of them. The darkness wants everything we brought in with us. The symbols pulse faster, drawing us deeper toward the void. We crawl because there is no other way. The passage beneath the chasm is narrow. It forces us single file and presses our bodies along damp stone. The walls slick with condensation and something darker. Our shoulders rub rough rock and our knuckles bleed. The light we carry is swallowed in wedges and the beam grows thin. At first the passage feels like escape. The more we crawl, the narrower it gets. Each inch forward costs breath. The air hums with voices that tell us we are almost there, stop fighting. John's breathing becomes ragged and distant. He whispers, "I can't," and the word dies. Mara's hand slips from mine and panic spikes like electricity. Something cold slides along my spine. The walls twitch like skin and pulse under my touch. The smell of iron and rot floods in. My limbs feel thick and slow as if moving through syrup. Each attempt to go faster makes the passage push back harder. Strength drains from me like a leak. The light finally fails in a black so complete I cannot tell which way is forward. In the dark, a chorus asks for surrender, and our crawl becomes an advance into an appetite we cannot see. I think keep moving. Even that thought feels thin and ragged. A gaping darkness swallows the light completely. In the black, a voice offers an escape. It is layered whispers, promises that split and recombine. The voice says we can leave if we give something, names, memories, blood. The condition never becomes clear because the voice slides through our heads like a cold hand. It shows choices as if holding up cards. One card is a face I know, another is smoke. Hands rise from the dark to present the possible offerings. We argue without air. We don't do this, Mara breathes. John begins, what if, and the voice in the dark folds around his hesitation. The hands bring forward small objects, a child's shoe, a note in my handwriting, a photograph I can't place. Memory becomes currency. Guilt grows like weight. The whispers name old mistakes and press them against my chest until I feel like I'm bursting with things I didn't admit. The hands are not kind. They count and do not plead. One by one, our private things are held up and offered. The more we hesitate, the firmer the grip becomes. Time collapses and the choice hangs like a blade. My throat is raw with the words I won't say. I think there has to be another way. The dark waits, patient and hungry. The decision tightens around us like a noose. An impossible choice hangs in the icy air. Chains clamp around our wrists before I fully understand the bargain. They do not feel like metal, they bite and tighten with old patience. I do not see the hands that pull. The dark presses and the chains yank us downward. We hang between air and the maw and pain stabs in the edges. The voice, offering, bargaining becomes clear. It tells us the cost, something not easily named. It will take what we love. It will take ties like thread and leave us shaped and empty. I look at John, his face is slack, eyes rolling white at the corners. Mara's lips move around a word I cannot hear. Our muscles strain. The chains pull like hands that know our weight. Fingers tear at my shirt. The world is a ring of black and my head swims with small, isolated memories. A fairy summer, Mara's laugh, John's stupid tie at my sister's wedding. One by one, those memories unstitch and slip away. My mind scrabbles for a way out. I consider trade, a name, a secret, anything to stop the pull. The voice asks me to surrender a name, to hand it over full. The choice is ugly and simple, my freedom at the theft of others. For a second there is awful clarity. I can save myself, I can trade what binds us and walk out. I make the move that will mark me. I let go of a word I had not meant to give. The darkness takes it. John's scream is a wet sound, and Mara's eyes find mine and go unreadable. I scramble free and run up the passage into the light like something willed from my chest. Outside the gates the night is quiet and normal. I do not stop until the asylum is a smear of black behind me. The door hangs closed and the sound behind it becomes silence. In the years after, I keep the memory like a scar. I flinch at every creak. I left them to die.